am thrilled to be here with you folks today. This is really a big deal, and I had a fantasy one day that this could happen on this topic. I have been a phenomenologist in studying humans and freedom. It is something that has captivated me from the earliest age, and it's still a very alive, living question for me. There are three simple things I want to walk through with you today about this. One is about perspective, one is about assumptions, and one is about answers. When I was in jail, I was faced with a situation where I was either going to get mugged in the shower by this one guy or beaten up outside by another. These are not happy choices. Not choices you look forward to of which of these two things is going to happen, or both. These are the kind of things where your mind goes nuts, racing in speed again and again with primitive functioning, just trying to sort out which is best. And the mind kept running those scripts. Better this, better that, better this. Like a fly stuck in a spider's web. And that's how we are. When you got up this morning, you got up, you brushed your teeth, you may have had a little coffee, you got dressed, you came down here. And you didn't make a list on your item, increase my human freedom. But as fundamental as all of those pleasant little things we do in the morning, it's more fundamental, like oxygen, like food, like love, is freedom. And we are prisoners of experience. We are stuck in ways that we don't even know we're stuck. We're stuck today in looking at, am I a good enough father? Why am I so tired all the time and weary? My marriage feels dead. Am I lovable? Is there any chance I can get what I want in this life? I just don't want to wake up anymore. That may sound like depression, but there's some part of ourselves that has a bucket of that. A bucket of living questions that we want to answer. Just like I was trying to do when I was in jail. Trying to answer a question that was very real, not airy-fairy, concrete. And so what I decided to do was something I had no idea I ever thought I would do. I stood up, and the sects of different groups sit together. The Islanders, Tonga, Samoan, Fiji men sit there. The African American brothers sit there. The Hispanics, Northern and Southerners sit there. I got up and I walked across the demilitarized zone to where the Islanders were and looked at the biggest, baddest dude there, named Kali. 6'8", 300 and something pounds, in tight shape, less body fat than a chicken. And I asked him, are we going to fight today or tomorrow? Loud voice, looking right at him. He laughed and said, tomorrow. I came back the next day, are we going to fight today or tomorrow? Tomorrow. Again and again. And we became friends. So what is it when you cut across the grain of radical thinking? You cut across those of the known, predictable, reasonable solutions and go for something bold. What does it do? It may not work. Absolutely. But it may open up a whole new domain of choices, opportunities, and really richness, a form of wealth. In your life, when you look at how you're stuck, do you just trust your thoughts? Or is there something else to look at? Is there something else for you to take a peekaboo at of a different way of trying to move closer? I studied Einstein's writings for quite a while. I couldn't do the math if it hit me over the head. But his work, as near the end of his life, was about not the quantum and the relativity and unified field theory. There was a lot of pressure, questions about who would be his successor. And he picked a physicist named David Bohm, who was a very respected physicist, later taught at Berkeley. But David was picked because none of the questions he asked, not because of the answers he had, but because of the questions he asked. He wanted to know clearly why in the physical universe is there's such predictability. And in the social universe, there's so little predictability. You drop a coin, it hits the spot. You drop a coin, it hits the spot. But in the social universe, you walk downstairs, say good morning. You walk downstairs, say good morning, good morning. Two different responses. And we have no idea why we got them. And that became one of his areas of study. Why is there such variance? And he figured it out. No sociology training, no psychology training. He figured it out. And what he figured out was, it's the assumptions that are unnamed that are driving the behavior. If someone came down and said good morning, and I was and said, I didn't sleep well last night, I'm grumpy. Oh, it takes the other person out of the world of trying to figure out, did I do something? And stop making stuff up about a story about what's going on with me, to having information. Those assumptions free us up so much. It frees us up from any of the noise and drama of what it is to be human, and allows us just to get on with what we want. It keeps us into the core of the signal of life versus the noise of the anxiety and mind-created madness. This has a great impact on all of us. The more you can be transparent with your assumptions, the more things work. Picture somebody at work you're not getting along with. Picture somebody in your love life. Picture a child. Picture anything. And name your assumptions. As you bring courage to that conversation, it starts changing it for them as well. And the little tiny hairs of like plants, where water goes through, there's little tiny hairs of us interchanging with another, beyond what we're thinking, and we start to self-organize. It starts making sense. It starts getting to be easy to be understood. Now, the few minutes I have left, there's one topic that's very, very important to me on human liberation. And it's by a man that I had a pleasure of meeting, Socrates. And yes, I did say meet. In his writings, he's not just a life coach, he's not just a philosopher. You read it and you read his stuff and you start feeling this ascension, this something aspiring is coming on. You start getting lighter. And although his work is not dense, it's comprehensive, there's an undercurrent of him about human liberation. And in his writings he says very clearly, there is no learning, only recollection. Now that just steamrolled me. I mean, just knocked me to the ground and rolled me over twice. I couldn't understand. There's no learning, only recollection. I had a big ego about being smart, about being a smarty pants guy who had read and prepared. But to access answers is much bigger than to know. One, it's not me that I'm accessing. I'm accessing something else. And so when I started looking at the answers are within, the fundamental questions, the answer is looking at us. The answer has already been written. When I was in jail, I practiced this. One of the hidden conversations in jail is, what would people do if they went straight, if they went square? Every man that I met there had a conversation in their head about that. And one guy who was named Tyrone, who was a pretty rough character, I asked him, what would you do if you weren't in a gang? I don't know, man. No, what would you do, Tyrone? Stay with that question. Focus on that. And for a couple days, he didn't talk to me. And he came back and said, I got it, Toby, I got it. I'd blow stuff up. I'd be at demolitions, like those guys taking down buildings. The question and the answer. If there is a living question, a question that is alive, a question that you're pregnant with, a question you will take on, even if you don't answer it, you will say, I will bring what I have to bear in looking at this question. I will bring my resources to tackle it. And it will drain you and exhaust you and be beyond what you think you can do. And you may not answer it. But you will change in a direction you have no idea. And so what I'm asking you to think about, the question and the answer. Like Einstein space-time, Space-time became one concept. Question, answer can become one concept. The question that is a living question, the answer can be looking at it. In this pool that is not a silvery reflection of water, as you go into it, it is timeless, and all the answers that we can know and not know are there. Great physicists, great mathematicians, great composers, great novelists, great painters. They're inspiration. If you read Monet talking about drawing upon the pool, one after another, the pool is where the action is. Nietzsche talking about psychic origins as fundamental part of our nature. Jung and the collective unconscious. Buber, on and on and on. It goes to a simple understanding. They are all saying, get yourself into the pool. And the pool is even saying that. Yes, the pool has a wordless voice. It communicates to us. It is much bigger than the cleverness of the known and the mind. These answers can speak to us without words. And in this place where the pool is, there is a magnitude of things that all of us are welcome to explore. It is the true Wikipedia Google of the unknown there for us, if you know how to get to the pool and if it's a living question. What I'm asking us to take a look at here is all of us share a commonality of feeling at times like we're flies in a web. But we have choices, tools, resources, and a hunger for being free from this web that we are in. Rousseau talks about everywhere people are born free and society puts them in chains. There are ways to get through these chains. We cannot solve all of these questions. There are mysteries upon mysteries that are beyond human comprehension. I am clear of that. But I am also asking us to be free of the conditions that we are in. We can have a silent prayer for the suffering that we share as people. Can we help our hearts, our minds, those who are incarcerated, experience a liberation from the present constraints? I hope you join me in that prayer, and I'll see you in the pool. The water's great.